Well, good evening, everybody. Yes, do not adjust your TV screens. We all look different a little bit today, don't we? Well, that's because it's Halloween week, right? And what better way to celebrate than to dress up like we are? So you can decipher for yourself what we all are. Of course, I am your father, Nick Rosario, here to steer the ship on this fine Tuesday evening. Yes, of course, it is Tuesday night. It's Let's Talk Football, the Roundtable. And as always, never, ever, ever am I alone. And I'm glad to have all four of us back. We are all back this week, so here we are. It's going to be a great show. I'll just start with him because I don't know what he's wearing. But Anthony Handy, how are you, sir? And what is your costume?
Right. It's great to be here. Appreciate you guys having me on the show. Anthony took the week off. I'm his cousin Anton. I'm here visiting from wherever the hell it is. Had a great time hanging out with some guys down in the Paseo district. Young lady, your ears look like they're suffering from some of what I drank before I came out of the green room. It's quite amazing. Incredible to watch. I'm glad to be here. We're going to be talking football, right?
That is correct, sir. That
American
is
Roots
correct.
Football. That's going to be absolutely awesome. Oh, by the way, my cousin, he told me to tell you all hello. He might be for me. He something about biting a bat or something like that back in the day. But he told me to tell you all hello. It's great to be here today. Rock on.
All right. Well, thank you very much for that. Tina Winter, how are you?
He told me to tell you something else. Something about being very pleased to be in your presence this evening. Oh. That's not exactly how that goes, I don't think, but that's about the best I could get out of it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for that. We're happy that you were able to join us then. We'll talk to Handy next week, I guess. Tina, how are you, Tina, on this fine Tuesday?
I'm having a good time, and I'm hopping excited to be on the show tonight.
Wah, 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 wah. No, that was very good. Thank you very much. See, look at folks. Where else can you get this kind of entertainment? I'm telling you, this is phenomenal. Delilah, how are you? Delilah's back this week. How are you, dear, my dear? How are you? What's it going on?
Enjoying 80 degrees on October 29th.
How about that?
In the Midwest, so pretty good. I'm Captain Puerto Rico or Captain America. Whatever you see.
Right, whatever you see. Absolutely. I love it. That's right. Whatever you interpret. No, but we all know Delilah is a very proud Puerto Rican, so thank you for we're representing here on this fine Tuesday. We appreciate that. And again, thank you for joining us. We hope that you'll stay with us for as long as we're on this evening, because you never know what's going to happen on this show. But yeah, let's get it going. And as always, what do we start with? Coin toss. All right, so as we all are pretty much aware, because it was a really big story this weekend, there was a professional football contest that took place in Washington this past Sunday that everybody got to see because that game was flexed to 3:25 in the afternoon, and it ended in a very, very crazy way. And, of course, Delilah and I's team ended up on the losing end of said crazy, crazy ending. And I believe Sean Spencer has been nice enough to provide us with a video of the last play of the game. Sean, when you get a moment, can you go ahead and play the last play of Sunday's game. Let us all
it's
watch
gonna be
together.
Getting longer
See
by the
what
second.
happened.
All the way back at the 30-yard line. Now you can step into it. Here comes the Hail Mary with the game on the line. And the ball is caught! Caught! It's a miracle!
Yeah. Hail Mary, full of grace. The Lord was definitely with Washington on Sunday, let me tell you. Yeah. What are you going to do? These things happen, right? But the discussion is, and this is what we're going to talk about a little bit early on here in the show, just because it became a big story around the NFL, because some people complained about, oh, look, the refs missed a holding call on that, or Tariq Stevenson decided that he wanted to play to the crowd and didn't realize the play had started, and his back's turned to the whole thing. And by the time he catches up, he's the one who actually bats the ball back for Brown to catch it. Well, there you go. That's the game 18-15 Commanders. Delilah, I'll start with you simply because I know where you were watching the game. What was that like watching with a bunch of other people, seeing that last play unfold?
Well, by that point in time, it was all Bears fans because my buddies, to be fair, they put on all the games, just so you know, because it is a Chicago bar. So even though it's a Green Bay bar, they do play the Bears games. And because it moved it to 325, right? Green Bay game cleared out, and all the Bears fans came in because now we have more room, so we moseyed in, and it went the way I expected based on the coaching for the first half, which was awful, pretty damn awful. It was just awful to watch. Our defense, I love you guys. I don't hate you. Keep doing what you're doing, but watching punt after punt after punt after punt after punt for literally 2 quarters, really long quarters, by the way. I don't know if you guys realize how long this game was. Punt after punt after punt. And then I guess they went into a locker room and had some oranges and came back. And still did nothing. At 4th and 1, instead of kicking a field goal, they decided to do a weird play that I still don't understand of why they would pass the ball to DJ Moore when Swift was having a great game. He was hot. So if they would have just given him the ball, we would have converted most likely. I'm just saying he would have had a better chance. That would have made the most sense at 4th and 1. Yeah. So that call backfired, as we know. And then we did this weird, thought we were going to repeat Refrigerator Perry's, but this was a replacement center, people forget. Not even our normal center.
All right.
So, of course, nothing happened there with that weird goal. We could have had a touchdown again, or at least a field goal. Again, at least a field goal at much. You know what I mean? And so we didn't score a touchdown until, the end of the 3rd quarter. And then after that, it was literally, 30 seconds left in the 4th quarter. And that is on coaching. It was abysmal. And so kudos to Washington. I'm glad you won that game because we did not earn that.
Yeah, that was, Sean and I have been pretty much going back and forth since Sunday about all of this. And that could have been a show on its own as much as him and I have texted back and forth in the last 2 days. But, Handy, we'll go to you next because I want to talk to you a little bit about Tariq Stevenson and what kind of happened there. Obviously and again, because I've seen Hail Mary plays before, obviously. But to me, he looked like he was terribly out of position to start with. And then he decides he wants to, again, he claims he was actually not taunting, but talking to Bears fans at that particular moment. This was a quote, apparently. And that, but again, Anthony, or Anthony's cousin with the English accent that we're talking to here. What do you say to that? Here's a guy who's supposed to be one of our top-rated backs, and he decides he wants to take a mental break. How do you react to that? How do you feel about this, Handy?
He looked like he was terribly out of place. He was way on the other side of the field. He was damn near over there dancing with the cheerleaders. I'm saying, I've watched the video from multiple different angles. Listen, you get paid to be in the game. You understand? You can talk to the fans when there's a timeout on the field. If the game is over, before the game, coming out, warming up after the halftime break. As long as there's time on the clock, you always pay attention to what's going on because you know, I mean, I know you two both have to be going, well, maybe if he was paying better attention, he could have better positioned himself and seen the situation in the scrum. I like that term scrum. It's great. It's a game called rugby. You guys, you blokes should love it. It positioned himself better in the scrum to bat the ball any direction other than to the one Commanders player by himself in the back, just back here like they don't even know I'm back here. So that's I'm sorry. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall for the personal one-on-one performance evaluation that coach had for him after the game. For sure.
Yeah. No.
And
Yeah.
and
Well.
ladies, I gotta say this, ladies, I don't know, y'all wearing y'all hair. This is like only maybe the third time I've worn this wig, and this crap is all and it's just it's everywhere. God bless you. Kudos to you. I could not
Oh
do this.
man.
I don't know how Prince did it. God rest your soul, Mr. Nelson.
Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, I've worn a wig one time on stage, and yeah, it was kind of uncomfortable because I just wasn't used to it. I get that. This I understand. Tina, I'm going to go to you next with a little bit different angle on this because again, and you're going to be talking a little bit later about some stuff, but it's more or less to me. People were complaining about some of the people were complaining about the refs at the end missing a holding call. But my thing is, if you looked at the game as a whole, and I know you were probably watching the Broncos game, so you may not have seen all of this because
No, I had the Broncos game in my ear, but I was watching the Bears game.
Oh, were you? Okay,
Again,
awesome.
you guys played and got pushed, so my game that would have been on Fox got blacked out.
Oh, that's okay. That's what happened to you. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because I remember we were talking that you were going to watch the Broncos game, so I thought
I
that's what
was.
happened.
Yeah,
Oh, that's terrible. Well, then you actually saw this then, so this is probably even
I
better.
saw it in
But
real
like,
life. Yeah.
yeah, no, but I mean, my point, what I was going to ask you about was just because the coaching factor, as Delilah had mentioned too. Like, I didn't get a chance to see the game. I'll be honest. I watched highlights. I had to work. I got called into work, so I went to work. But I just feel like from what I've heard and from what I've seen, and from everybody else's account of this game, the Bears just didn't look prepared at all. And I was told, and there was a player on local. Jalen Johnson was on a local radio program this morning about taking a timeout, that he thought they should have taken a timeout before that last play because of the fact that not everybody, he claimed, they knew their assignments, but not everybody was ready to kind of go. That speaks to preparation. How do you feel about that in terms of, do you think they should have called a timeout before that last play? How do you feel about this?
Well, I mean, you can't really prepare for a Hail Mary in that kind of a situation. That's one that the coaches need to be able to get across to the guys everybody where they're supposed to be. And if they weren't in the right position, or the Mike or whoever was running the defense on that one, special teams, then they needed to call a timeout. But did the Bears have any
I
at
believe
that
they
point?
had one
I don't
left.
remember that part. They
I
had
believe
one
they had
left.
one. I believe they had one
Then
left.
they
Yeah.
probably should have. But to me, it just seemed like just one of those, I can't believe I'm watching this happen type of situation. Like,
Right.
there's no way you could sit and practice and say, okay, you're going to pretend to be Jaden Daniels and you're going to run around for 2 minutes, avoiding 16 tackles, essentially, is what it kind of looked like. And then you're going to end up over on one side. Looks like you're going to get tackled. You're going to get away and go beyond everybody. And then everybody in front of you is going to realize you're running, but coming towards them again. So now they're going to block everybody so he could then throw the ball. And then it hits the scrum and goes backwards and ends up hits the guy. So I don't know. Maybe they should have. That's always going to be a hindsight is 2020 situation. That, I mean, I honestly think that everybody on the Bears thought there was no way that they were going to get a Hail Mary. Like, they did not think this was going to work.
Yeah,
And
I'm
it
sure.
came down to a deflected pass that instead of going down, went back.
Right.
And
Yeah,
that can happen because I don't think he's to blame for it. I think he was out of position. he was goofing off or screwing around, whatever he was doing, whether he was taunting or whether he was talking to Bears fans. The only reason he was even able to get anywhere near that ball was because Jaden Daniels was running around like a rabbit being chased by a fox.
Yeah, true, very true. But see, that's my thing though, too. Though it's like I get it because again, Sean and I talked about this. I don't. It's not, I blame him for being out of position and for doing what he did, but we lost that game in the first three quarters. Like Delilah mentioned, there was plenty of opportunities for us to have a big lead go, into the end of the game there. Like we should have even had to worry about this last pass or this last drive or whatever. And so again, I can go on for hours about that because I pretty much have. But so I'm not going to do that today. But yeah,
pretty evenly matched game. You guys, in terms of your teams, was very evenly matched. So it came down to who could take advantage of situations. And like Delilah said too, I mean, Swift was on fire, and for some reason they just decided to stop going with what worked. And then they're like, it was just a strange. I think it comes down to what you guys have said on this show before too. Is like, I think it does come down to coaching.
yeah.
And Eberflus, maybe not Eberflus, but I definitely think your guys' OC, your what
Shane
is it?
Waldron.
Shane Waldron, yeah.
Out of his depth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, your guys' defense looked pretty good. Well, both teams' defense looked pretty good.
Yeah, they did. Well, I think we made them. I mean, again, they have a good defense. I'm not trying to say that, but I think we made them look a lot better with some of the plays we called. Like, all of a sudden, the second time you let Roschon Johnson run on the 1 yard line, guess what? He scored. Why didn't you do that the time before? Like, that's my whole point to this whole thing. Like you said, why are you even trying to run Doug Kramer? Like, did you really? Was that a trick? Like, he was the only guy in the backfield. Did Washington think he wasn't going to get the ball? Like, come on, dude. Like, seriously, he was the only guy back there. Like, you knew what they were doing, and it's like, come on, man. Like you said, that to me, they weren't prepared. Like, from the clips that I saw, the highlights, and looking at the first half stats, we had a bye week. We had an entire almost 2 weeks to prepare for Washington, and this is the way we came out and played. So to me, that's what strikes me more than this guy being out of position and tipping the ball to Brown. Like, you weren't prepared to play this game, and that's coaching. Yes, I get it. Players have to go out and play, but come on. You should have been more than ready for anything Washington threw at you, having 2 weeks to prepare for them. That, to me, is what really bothered me more than anything, is how flat we looked in the beginning. Caleb didn't do jack for pretty much 3 quarters until we finally came alive at the end. And again, this is what happens sometimes when that happens. You came back too late, and look what happened. You got bit. So, I mean, there's a lot of blame to go around here in terms of why we lost. And I get, again, Stevenson will take most of it because that was the last play. So, I mean, I get it. But, yeah, there was many more reasons we lost that game than Tariq deciding he wanted to play to the crowd for 30 seconds. But, yeah, I mean, again, we know what happened there. Let's move on really quickly. Just curious about this because I was thinking about we're almost at the halfway point of the season now. You kind of see where the teams are, where everybody's at. So I thought it'd be fun to do some early Super Bowl predictions and see where we are so that at the end of the season, we can come back to this clip and make fun of everybody for who they picked. So, Handy, we'll start with you. For right now, it's going to be week 9 this week coming up. From what you've seen, what do you think for Super Bowl prediction? Who do you got in the Super Bowl right now?
Ooh, I'm gonna say the Chiefs, and I know it's an easy pick, but I don't know what the hell is in the water in Kansas City. They could Patrick Mahomes right now could go out and throw 15 interceptions and they will still win. I don't know what's going on in Kansas City. I just don't. As far as the NFC is let me back up. AFC Championship. I know you said Super Bowl. AFC Championship. Ravens Chiefs win. NFC. Good God. I want to say it's going to be I want to say the Lions. I want to say the Lions, Los Lions, those guys, the guys from Detroit. So I'm going with Detroit and the Chiefs. That's what I got.
Okay. Sounds good. Duly noted, and that is forever recorded, so we will have play that back at the end of the year. Delilah, how about you? Who do you got for the Super Bowl right now? If season ended today, Super Bowl, who you got?
I think Ravens will get over that hump and finally make it to the promised land. I'm not so I do agree with the repeat of the AFC Championship, but I think Ravens will make it this time because of King Henry and just they just look better and like they just look better. I just feel like they did the right job of picking the pieces that they needed, and so I think they'll make it to the promised land finally. On the NFC side, I don't think it'll. I don't know, but it's hard to go back to back, right? And I'm not saying Lions can't make it because they're having a great season. No hate on that.
Right.
All right. I'm going to throw a Hail Mary pass.
All right.
Okay.
And I'm going to say Ravens, and I'm going to vomit when I say this. Green Bay.
Oh, she's going Packers, Ravens. All right. We'll see if in 9 weeks we'll see if Delilah's correct. We'll revisit this when it comes time. I like that. Tina, how about you?
Well, I'm gonna sacrifice some chicken bones to Joe Boo and hope and pray and do a sun dance and a rain dance or whatever other freaking tribal thing.
Don't forget your puka dance.
Right.
So that the Ravens will win.
Right.
You're gonna have me sitting on here when you do it, and Sean's gonna have to bleep me out when I go, "You, Joe Boo."
Yeah, right. There you go. There it is. I was waiting. There it is.
NFC. If the Niners can't get healthy, or if Christian McCaffrey doesn't come back, I think it's Detroit.
Okay.
Is going to be in it. If CMC comes back, which everything I'm reading is he's probably not going to,
right?
They're hurting really hard right now. Niners are pretty much kind of my team, but I think Detroit is probably best positioned right now in terms of what they're doing and the spark that they have to go there. So we'll see, but it's 9 weeks. I mean, anything can happen.
Oh, sure. But and that's kind of why I wanted to do that. I just wanted to see I just wanted to take the temperature of everybody, kind of see where everybody is. Mine, as of right now, like I think the Ravens have everything they finally need. Like I think everything is. Like I said, hopefully the stars are aligned. All that stuff is because I really would like to see Lamar Jackson get to a Super Bowl and win one. I'm not going to lie. I would like to see that. That man has taken a beating for years about he can't do this, he can't do that, he can't throw, he can't. So, yes, I'm going Ravens. I'm saying, again, I would like to see Ravens Chiefs and have the Ravens beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. So I would love to see that. Now, the NFC, I almost wanted to do something. I almost wanted to be like Delilah and throw the Hail Mary kind of thing. But I do feel like the Lions, and I told Sean this a couple of weeks ago that I thought, I wasn't 100% sold on the Lions. I was waiting to see, but I kind of feel like once what I've seen in the last few weeks, you go, you know what? The NFC being what it is, I could totally see the Lions getting to the Super Bowl this year. I'm going to root for a dark horse only because I see what happens when this gentleman has his weapons, and that's the Los Angeles Rams. Because Matthew Stafford, as much as he's maligned, I get it, and he got to stay healthy. But you see the difference when he had both his receivers in there this past week. My goodness. And it's not like, I've always liked Matthew Stafford in that sense. Like, all those years with the Lions, he finally got his the Super Bowl, so it was great. But I'm still going to go with the Lions, but my dark horse is the Rams. I'm going to keep that for now in my back pocket, but I'm going Lions, Ravens, and I'm hoping that somehow the Ravens win that game and Lamar Jackson gets his. So let us move on from that. Right.
I agree. Matt Stafford is quite the quarterback. I have no idea where he went to school, but wherever he went, I'm sure he got an excellent education as a quarterback. Just saying.
Yes, I am told that is correct. Thank you very much, my friend. All right, let us move on. Good.
Actually, my dark horse would have been the Buccaneers if
Ah,
it wasn't for what happened to their wide receivers this week.
well, that's the thing. They lost theirs. The Rams got theirs back, and that's right. I'm with you, Tina. They were playing very well, and Baker was having a great year. I mean, he's still gonna have a good year, but he's struggling now because he doesn't have his two top receivers, and like Kate Otten got so much more play this week at tight end just because of that, because he's like their big
I had him
receiver
sitting
now.
on my bench in my fantasy, and I almost puked.
No, I started him. I got like 28 points. It was phenomenal because I knew that he was going to get a lot of looks, and he certainly did. He scored 2 touchdowns, I believe. So yeah,
Oh yeah, I've had him now for 3 weeks. It's just crazy. Yep.
Kate Otten for the win. No, you're good. You're good. Again, and fantasy. Everybody plays fantasy here in some way or another, so I'm sure they appreciate that info as well. Pick up Kate Otten if you haven't. Trust me, that's a good pickup. So let us move on to one of our favorite segments. Obviously, always. She's always knowledgeable, and we love it. So it is now time for This Week in NFL History with Delilah Crespo.
Hi, everybody. Delilah here with a Halloween special of This Week in NFL History. Because, Thursday's Halloween, so figured I'd start with that. Halloween NFL traditions. Halloween games have been a highlight since the early days of the NFL, with NFL players showing off both on and off the field. The 1988 Halloween Classic, Eric Dickerson of the Indianapolis Colts scored 4 touchdowns, and sorry, I'm going to say this, Tina, against the Denver Broncos, setting the record for the most points scored on Halloween. I'm just sharing the stats. And then we had Drew Brees. I don't know if people know, but Drew Brees did play for the Chargers before he went to New Orleans. So Drew Brees had a Halloween performance in 2004. Before joining the Saints, Brees had a standout Halloween game with the San Diego Chargers against the Oakland Raiders. He completed 22 of 25 passes for 285 yards and 5 touchdowns, reaching a passer rating of 153.1, just 5.2 points shy of perfection. So that was Drew Brees' amazing Halloween game with the Chargers. Bengals Halloween thriller in 2013. The Bengals last played Halloween on 2013. Well, they played again after that. Facing off against the Miami Dolphins in a nail-biting overtime game. Cameron Wake of the Dolphins clinched the win with a safety sack on the Bengals QB Andy Dalton. But a lot of people who saw the footage dispute that a sack even happened. And everybody thinks he just stepped back into the end zone. And then that's how the Dolphins won. So again, whatever you think, that's the video's there. Just look for the game. But anyways, that's how the Dolphins won that game. The Browns Halloween rivalry. So in their in a Halloween game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Browns defensive end Myles Garrett dressed as the Grim Reaper, because that's how he showed up to the game. Remember, I think people remember this.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, 2021. Remember, he dressed up like the Grim Reaper and showed up, and because he showed up to the game, he put the name of every QB he had sacked on his cape. Y'all remember that? However, despite the costumes and his efforts, the Browns lost that game 10-15. So wasn't a crazy scoring game, obviously, 10-15. But the Grim Reaper cape didn't work for him in that Halloween game, unfortunately. And Halloween 2022, again, the Browns, somehow they wind up a few times on these Halloween Thursday night games. So in 2022, the Browns dominated the Bengals, ending with a 32-13 victory. I think you guys remember that. They really did dominate that game. 32-13 victory, showcasing a well-rounded performance across the offense, defense, and special teams. They just dominated that whole game. They just beat up, on the Bengals and won 32-13. The last Halloween game that was played before the one that's coming up in a couple days, was in 22. Again, it's a Cleveland Browns game, but this time they actually won. So they won this game. So the Cleveland Browns showcased a complete performance there, and they, oh no, I repeated the same. I'm sorry, same thing. I'm just sharing that Nick Chubb had 2 touchdowns that game. Sorry about that. And then Thursday, this is our upcoming game, and it's Texans at Jets. So who knows what happens? A lot of people also feel like spooky things happen on Halloween, on these Halloween games. I think you guys saw the videos, how it looks like the balls are being tossed away or batted away, but it's just bad football, you know. People just are not paying attention, as we know. So Thursday, the next Halloween game is Texans at Jets. So who knows what's going to happen that game and if we see some cool stuff come out of it. And that is your Halloween NFL games encapsulated. Hope you enjoy some of those tidbits.
All right, thank you very much for that. Yeah, I think we all remember the Andy Dalton game, that safety thing. That's pretty funny that was on Halloween because, yeah, I think we all remember. It's kind of like, okay, let me just take this step. Okay, I'm done. And the game's over, we lose. All right, congratulations, Andy. That was fantastic. But yes, let us take a quick break. We wanted to thank everyone. We see Ben in the comments. So thank you guys all for tuning in. There's a couple of you watching. Thank you. Always feel free to comment if you like. But we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in just a little bit. Stay with us.
Trying to explain to people is that he is Pacific Islander, but he's not Hawaiian because we want to realize there's other little islands in that area.
There are other islands around.
But anyway, sorry.
I can't do it. But there it is.
That's New Zealand. That's New
Zealand.
Zealand.
You doing a haka? What are you trying to do? A haka?
Yeah. But go for it.
Sorry, my mic. There we go. Right, puka. Well, again, for those of you who watch our show regularly, you know that Tina got handy back sometime later with her puka dance, which I'm sure Tina will gladly do again at some point during this season. So don't worry. If you missed it the first time, you'll catch it again, I'm sure. Right. Speaking of Tina Winter, it is now time for Tina's segment that we all know and love, the Corner Office. So, Tina, this is for you.
All right, so real quick, gonna go through the top corners. This week, it's Xavier McKinney of Green Bay. He has 26 solo tackles, 10 assists, 6 interceptions, and 7 passes deflected, 1 sack, and 1 fumble recovered. In second is Kirby Joseph of Detroit. He has 25 solo tackles, 14 assists, 5 interceptions, and 7 passes deflected. And rounding out in third is Marlon Humphrey of Baltimore, who has 27 solo tackles, 6 assists, 4 interceptions, and 8 passes deflected. And so that is the top corners of the game. But one thing I kind of wanted us as a group to kind of discuss was that we've been seeing it a lot lately. Bears game. One of the things like that is coming out in the scuttle of the Bears game that we talked about is that the Bears have sent tape to the NFL, to a headquarters at the NFL, showing what they're calling holding calls and seeing if they will take a look at the game and show that the refs made some bad calls in that one. There was that one, which in my opinion, I don't think will happen. They're not going to make the Bears in Washington get together again to throw one ball. That's just not going to happen. But there's been some other pretty bad reffing decisions lately. The Rams Vikings game with the face mask in the last 30 seconds of that game, that definitely was pretty blatant. There's been a couple of roughing the passer calls that we look at and like, that's not really roughing the passer, but it's getting called. There's been some DPI or PI calls on either side, whether it's offensive or defensive. Lately, we've been seeing a lot of DPI. That's, I think a lot of us would say, like, we don't think that's really DPI. But so there's a lot of this stuff, and we all know that the refs get graded every week and the teams get graded. And depending on how they do throughout the year, then they can be put on various teams to play in the playoffs. Now, I've kind of mentioned this before, and I think it's true, is one thing everybody needs to remember is while these guys go through extensive training on this, on what they're doing, they are technically volunteers, and they're contract workers with the NFL. They're not NFL employees. And so I want to throw this out to Delilah and Handy and Nick. And my thought is, let's discuss whether or not the NFL reps should actually be NFL employees, kind of like what the NBA does. So, Nick, what do you
Yep.
think?
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea at all, Tina. I think there we go. Oh, there I am. Hey, it's me. Hi, everybody. I'm back. No, but I do think I think that's okay. And the ears are off. The gloves are off. The ears are off. It's all off.
I had to take my hood. I had to take
Right,
my hood off. So I'm sweaty.
Right there you go. I actually agree with that statement, though. I really do think it would be great if the refs actually worked for the NFL and were employees. I just feel like, and again, I could be wrong in this, but like sometimes you do kind of see like refs just lackadaisical on the sidelines doing, they're doing their thing, but at the same time, they're kind of just like, a guy will go over to the ref and say something, the ref's like, oh, excuse me, and then they'll start, I don't know. I just feel like you're invested more if you're an employee. I just think that's what most things in life.
Yeah.
You're just invested more in what you're doing if you're an actual employee of something. Because like you said, I know they get graded and that's fine, but at the same time, if I could, motivate you by like, I don't know, docking your pay a little bit or something, whatever, to get you to really pay attention during these games and to really, because yes, I understand that and I talk about this extensively about you shouldn't let a ref decide the game. You shouldn't be in that position, but it happens. And refs have cost people games. We've seen it. We all know. We've all talked about it. But I just feel like I'll stop there because, again, we could probably talk on this forever. I do feel like they should be employees of the NFL, and that's my take on it.
Yeah. As I've covered, as you know, during Diversity with Delilah, right? Refs and officials, because I mentioned that the referee is not the same as the official. There's a completely different. Like, there's only one ref, and then you have all the officials. The ref is the one that has like way more like training, right? He's more seasoned, spends more time, still part time. So I think you have to understand that these are part time gigs for almost seasonal. If you think about it that way, maybe that'll help. This is a seasonal job. These officials and the referee have other jobs that they do to supplement. This is something that they do part time. Yes, they have training camps for referees. Yes, they have all these different things that they do. But I agree with Tina. I do believe that if they went salaried, and if you think about it, just like with the NBA, when they did all that, that's why they were able to control more things, right? With the NBA scandal of like betting and all that stuff. So making the officials and the referees like actual employees, I do think that it'll go a better way because the training's going to be better, right? It has to be because these are going to be employees, rather it's hourly or salary, whatever you decide to do, right? The training changes, right? Because this is now your job. This is like your core job. And so I do think that might go to helping, but human error is human error though. And so I don't think it'll fix the problems completely, but I do think it'll make things better, right? Because this is going to be their actual job. They're going to make some good money because you got to make the pay good. So if you're going to do like salaries for these officials and referees, you got to give them a living salary based on where they live, right? So again, make sure you pay them, and then I think it'll go well. Because if you pay them not well, then it's gonna go just like any other part-time job where you get paid crap, right? You're not gonna care. So just make sure we do that. I do think it'll make a difference, but the salary has to make sense. Like it has to be at least a living wage that they can afford rent, groceries, things like that, right? To make sure that they're employed like year round, or if they're not employed year round, that if in the off season, right, they're still able to pay their bills and stuff. So that's my only caveat to that. Make them employees, but make sure they can actually afford to live where they live.
Handy?
Well, if these guys aren't full-time employees, then by all means sign me up. Unless every single website I've looked at is wrong on what they get paid. Don't they make a couple $100,000 over 18 games, 18 game season?
They make good money for doing it. But it's
It's
what it
okay.
is it's kind of like an independent contractor is what they are.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
doctors with the
I mean,
hospital. Yeah. Like,
that's fair.
not all
Well, I'm sorry.
doctors
Somebody's
are
paying me 200.
hospital employees. Some doctors are independent contractors, or your marketing
Right.
people, or somebody that comes in with a company.
Right.
So
Yeah. And they do
they
have
get
other jobs.
Yeah.
They do have other jobs.
a
Well, I
lot
mean,
of them are lawyers.
well, I do agree that they need to be NFL employees, but I did not. I mean, I figured they had to make a decent amount of money, but I didn't know they made that much. I mean, I, I'm not even gonna lie. I don't make that much on my job. Like hell, I take a job and make some bad calls for 18 games. I make all the bad calls. What bad call you want? What's that you said, Mr. Mahomes? You wasn't out of bounds. No flag on the play for the stepping out of bounds for on 15 of the Chiefs. The result of the play is a first down. Too good. Hey, make sure that check is made out to Anthony Handy. Anyway, but yes, I kid, but yeah, I agree because once you become an employee, then you have especially something of this nature with the NFL. I am pretty sure there's an employee handbook. There's probably an SOP somewhere, a referee SOP, something that they would have to follow to the very letter, and so much so to the point that a face mask in Tampa is a face mask in Atlanta, is a face mask in London. I'm not firing shots or nothing like that, but I may have or not have seen something like that happen this past Sunday that I was like, how did they not call that? So I'm just saying. But yes, I do agree they need to be NFL employees.
Yeah, and I do know, like, every week, like, on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, they have to during the football season, they have to get together as a group and do Zoom calls, and they go over, like, I'll call it, like, the best and the worst calls of the week, and you get graded, and if you're not graded well, then you're not gonna be able to do the big games, like the big Monday Night Football or even the playoff games and things like that. But the problem is that now some of it is you how many refs are on the field? What is it? Like 5, 4 with
Yeah, I
a
think
head?
there's. Yeah, I
Some
believe that's correct.
Yeah.
5 guys can't see everything on the field. But there's certain things that no matter what. Like if you can see pads and a pass interference, that's
Yeah.
pass interference. Like
Right.
I don't care whether one didn't have the ball or not. That's a grab. Yes,
Right.
I
No,
am
exactly.
referring to Sauce because he likes to grab. But
There you go.
like with face masks, if you're seeing a face turn 9 times out of 10, the only thing is with the NFL, and this is the reason why I think it's not being done, is unlike baseball with like the strike zone and where the base is, like bringing technology and electronics into the NFL game won't work. There's too much subjectiveness. But that's the problem is because it is so objectiveness is what I meant to say. Because it is so subjective, that's why what is a DPI for one guy won't be a DPI for somebody else.
Right.
And that's why I think if you brought them in as actual employees and that's all they did was this and they didn't have outside jobs, you just paid them for the whole year.
Oh yeah, they
Right.
go to
You would
training camp
see a little bit, maybe see a little bit more professionalism.
or
Because
at least
like
uniformity.
yeah, more uniformity. A lot of these guys, most of them are lawyers.
Right.
Like
I mean, again,
some,
right.
That's
The
what
job they
I'm.
do.
yeah,
That's what I'm
like,
saying. It's a part-time gig. Yeah.
sorry, Chewy.
And you work essentially 1 day a week, so that's not a bad part-time gig to make 200,000 for working 18 weeks. That's not bad at all. 1 day a week, I could live with that.
Yeah, and they're doing a hard job. This is
Yeah,
not
they
an
are.
easy
No,
to do
correct. They're
at
on their
all.
feet for that pretty much the whole time.
And
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
rules, but
You
still,
got to remember everything. Yeah.
I just wish there was a little. Well, that was the reason why Belichick was always able to take advantage of the rules. was because he knew the rule book better than the
Yeah,
refs did.
he certainly
So,
did. We all know Bill was on another level with a lot of things, and I think one of them was he
oh,
knew
I'm
all the.
sure
Yeah.
he looked at the crew coming in and was like, "Well, you know what? They tend not to call this, so this is what we're gonna do this
Right,
week."
and that's how smart them it was, and that's why he won 6 Super Bowls exactly. All right,
Right.
well, listen, thank you, Tina, for that. I do. We always appreciate Corner Office because we always get some stuff that we didn't know before, and I appreciate that, and I know we all do. So thank you for that. Let us move on. We're gonna try something new. Try a little something new. We've always done a team recap usually in this spot. This week we're gonna try a preview of the upcoming week, so we can talk just a little bit about the game that we have coming up. So, Mr. Handy, we'll start with you. Your Falcones get the Cowboys this week.
Yes,
You guys are sitting
sir.
there, right? You're sitting there at 5-3.
Yes,
And
sir.
how do you feel about said Cowboys coming into your home to take you
Yes.
on this week?
Welcome to the South. Yes, sir. Hey, oh man. Look, like Ludacris said, when you get on the floor, you better throw them bows because the birds are coming. Actually, now I taking fandom out of it. Atlanta is a team who I don't know what it is. They're gelling in a way that they haven't gelled in a very long time. Like they're finding the will to win more often than they are the will to give the game away at the end of the game. They're we're just talking last season before where they found themselves in similar situations where they would be down, where they would give the game away, and now they're winning those games. I mean, the coaching change. You know, I gotta say it. I said some things about Mr. Cousins coming in and his general state of health. And he wasn't ever a fast guy to begin with, but my God, it was good to see him break out running. Yeah, I was at home watching, going, "Old Man River," just watching him run down the field. I mean, I'm older than him, but I could run a 40 faster than he is. But I'm feeling good about our chances going into this game. Atlanta's a team on the rise. Dallas is a team that's been in a steady, slow descent, and and not only that, they are missing a ton of key pieces.
Sorry,
Um,
Janae.
yeah, all love to our homegirl Janae, Sean's partner from Let's Talk Football. But they're missing a lot of key pieces. I was looking at this earlier, and I just want to run this through you here. Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons might be a game time decision, and this is as of today. Deron Bland, they got to make a decision on him by Wednesday. Um, and they'll either need to add him to the roster or put him on season-ending injured reserve. DeMarcus
Yeah.
Lawrence is not available for another couple of weeks. Brandon Cooks is not available as a wide receiver. He's not available until November 10th. Marshawn Nealon, he won't come back until the 18th. Jordan Phillips, they just activated his 21-day practice window on the 23rd. So he was still ruled out this past Sunday, so they don't know if he's coming back. And Chuma Edoga, he's eligible to return at any time. That's the only one out of that list of names that I have read off there. They're missing some key pieces. And one thing Atlanta has been good at this season is taking advantage of the cracks in the armor. So I'm feeling really good about our chances. At this point, the only team that can beat Atlanta on this coming week is Sunday. Oh my God! Did I just say that? The only
Yes,
team,
you did. The only team that can beat him is Sunday.
the only team that can beat Atlanta this coming Sunday is Atlanta.
Okay.
And that's just how I feel about that.
Oh.
I feel like I'm feeling really good about their chances. I don't know what's going on over there. Lots of distractions. I know Jerry Jones is probably in every practice yelling at the coach, which is probably not a good look. So, I'm bring it on, man. And plus that
Yeah.
I've been waiting for, you all know that this game has been dubbed handy ball because I'm a Falcons fan. The wife is a Cowboys fan.
Right.
And
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
and Atlanta has not. Atlanta had the first handy ball was on our first wedding anniversary. Ironically, this one will be our wedding anniversary is this coming, what, the 4th? I don't know what day of the week the 4th is, but
It's a
it's
Monday.
It's a Monday. It's so Handy Bowl is the day before our anniversary this year.
There you
And
go.
right now the series is knotted up at 3-3. I think this is the year that we go ahead and take the lead back and go 4-3.
Well, there
I
you
mean,
go.
after what, especially after what I saw on Sunday. Oof. Yeah.
Yes. Well, hopefully your wife's still talking to you on Tuesday.
What's that?
Thank you. I said, hopefully the wife is still talking to you on Tuesday. We'll see.
We don't let that. Hey, look, football not an issue. Football not an issue.
No, I know. I'm just messing with you. But yes, definitely everybody watch Cowboys Falcons this weekend. Tina, you're 5-3, and maybe a little surprisingly, 5-3 Broncos taking on the Baltimore Ravens, coming off that big loss this past weekend. What do you got for this week, Broncos Ravens?
Well, Cleveland showed that the Ravens can be beaten. It's been shown in a couple of other ways that they can. I think this one's gonna be a test for us because we have them, and then we have the Chiefs the following week. So probably have a little more to say after that game too. Um, I think our defense is going to do good. If Cleveland was able to make Lamar a little under the weather or running around a little bit, I think we should have a shot. I don't think we'll win, but I would love to be pleasantly surprised. I'm just trying to keep it short in the time that we have because like the Ravens are a very, very good team. So it's going to be a test for our team.
For sure.
I won't be disappointed if we lose because we are a young team and we have a first year quarterback in Bo Nix.
Yep.
And I can see the Ravens giving him some trouble with the offensive output that we've had. We've had slow starts and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, Carolina and the Saints are not the Ravens. It's a very different thing. But if we can do well in this game and the next game, we're gonna continue. There's right now we'd be in the playoffs if we were doing it right now. So there's some chances there. I see some really good stuff in there. I just also see some bad, which if you guys want to hear a more in-depth analysis,
that's all right. That's
plug
all right.
my show, Mile High Minute, which is going to be going on probably a half an hour or so after we get done on this one. So we're doing it tonight because we can't on Halloween on Thursday. So you can hear me, Todd, and Steve, and those guys talk a little bit more in depth about what we are looking forward to that. I'm excited for the game, but I'm also scared for the game, to be honest.
Right. No, I hear you.
I don't want to be embarrassed, but
right, for sure. All right. Well, thank you for that, Tina. Yes, of course, we will be watching to see if Broncos can pull one out this weekend. Delilah, our beloved Bears, sitting there at 4-3, take on the Cardinals this week in a game that I feel like for us has to be a must-win this week. What do you think about Bears Cardinals this weekend?
It does have to be the must-win, and if we look, the Cardinals are not a bad team. They have we have literally the same record, by the way. And they lost by like 1 point, right? Like they were actually in that game on Sunday. So Kyler Murray looks healthy. He looks better than I've seen him in a long time, to be honest. Like he's been playing really well, really good football. We haven't seen this Kyler Murray, in a while. And the Cardinals look good. So this is not like winnable. Everybody's like, you guys, no, this is not a winnable game. This means we got to go out there and, score offensive points in the first half.
Yeah.
Maybe if we, kick some field goals, because even that will put some points on the board.
Right.
So again, if we can score some points in the first half and not wait until the final witching hour of the third quarter and the fourth quarter
right,
to score touchdowns, then we can win. And it's also, we don't have a good record away, by the way. All the games that we have lost this season have been away, which is funny, which is kind of ironic because we've never been good at home. So somehow we're winning at home this season.
And not winning on the road. Yes.
So hopefully this will be our first road win.
Yeah.
It'll depend, honestly, on the coaches because, again, Sunday's loss is all on the coaches. Everybody out there blaming Stevenson. you guys are not paying attention. Like, you don't know football. How can you blame it on one guy? Yeah, I know he made a stupid mistake, joking, taunting, whatever it was, but one guy, they didn't score until the last 3 minutes or something, the third quarter, and then 50 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. That's when we got touchdowns, okay?
Right.
So
Exactly.
again, the only way we'll beat the Cardinals if we actually put up offensive points. I don't care if it's a touchdown. I don't care if it's field goals. We have got to put points on the board the first quarter.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I agree with
like
you. We've had
that
10 points total.
because
Yeah.
exactly, it's not our defense. Our defense is not the problem. Even if they made one or two things, again, they did keep until the Hail Mary pass. They kept Washington to field goals every dang time. So our defense is not the problem. It's Shane Waldron and Eberflus.
Yep.
And I said I don't trust Eberflus, and Shane Waldron doesn't seem like he knows what the hell he's doing. And yeah, so that's how we'll win. The only one win if we actually score points. Isn't that novel?
Yeah, no, I imagine that scoring more than the other team. Absolutely. Like, and I'm with you. Everything you said, I do agree with. We've got 10 total points in the first quarter all season. 8 weeks. We've got 10 points total. 1 touchdown, 1 field goal in the first quarter. That's ridiculous with the offense that we have and the players that we have. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think our offense really has to come alive this week against the Cardinals, and we need to put up 30 points. That's just my feeling. I hope we do that. And again, we will definitely be watching that. Bears, Arizona, they got another 3 o'clock game. They're on 3:05 this week. So, yeah, we will go with that. Let us take another quick break, and we'll be back, folks. Enjoy this break right now. Thank you for watching. Continue to watch. We love it. Break time, break time, break. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, this break brought to you courtesy of Clairol and all Clairol products. If you want your hair to look silky smooth, just like mine.
That's a W. Let's eat one. Let's eat one. That's a W. How many people want to eat a W tonight?
You go, Jameis. And Jameis got the W on Sunday for the Browns against the Ravens. So very good. Very, very good. Exactly. You got a W. So there you go. I like it. Well, I guess we're going to try to be serious for another moment because we have another segment coming up right now. This segment, of course, is a very popular one as well. It is Anthony Handy and the Rookie Spotlight. Anthony, here we go.
Hey, oh, I'm sorry. I did a little peek behind the curtain. I do my little hype dance while the music is playing, getting ready for this segment. How's everybody doing this evening? Hope you all are doing well. Thank you for joining us this evening. Oh man, I wore that wig so long, my glasses are literally like fogged up. Anyway, I'm here today to talk to you about our rookie spotlight. You guys know who it is because you see it on the screen. Born July 28th, 2003. My God, I was 33 years old. That makes me feel very old. It was 33 when he was born. Born July 28th, 2003. Grew up in Lafayette, Louisiana. That's for true, my share. They eat that etouffee and crawdad down there, and it tastes real good. And all of them talk like that, even the women. That's how they do. He went to, my goodness, excuse me. He attended Ovi Komu High School before he transferred to Southside High School, but they wouldn't let him play his senior year because his transfer waiver was denied. But even despite all of that, he led the state of Louisiana with 58 receptions and 1,223 yards and 21 touchdowns in his final season. He committed to Mississippi State University. God only knows why. Got a better offer. Wound up going to play at LSU. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to fire no shots at y'all, Mississippi State. I think we still got to play y'all. No, we did play y'all. As a true friend, God, I swear to God, I just love this show so much. I do. I really do. I enjoy doing this segment. Please don't fire me, Sean. Sorry, I had a little sugar during the break. It's starting to kick in. As a true freshman at LSU in 2021, he played in 11 games. That's saying something. That says that the level of talent that this kid displayed as a true freshman, the coach said, I need you to get on the field and play. Like right now, yesterday. You see a lot of guys as freshmen, they wind up, redshirting. Maybe they need a little development, or either that or the level of talent in front of him was not that great. Now, I don't want to disparage this kid's talent, though. I'm erring on the side of this kid being ridiculously talented. He had 6 starts. He had 11 games. He played in 11 games. He started 6. He had 417 yards total during that freshman year. He came back as a starter, and he wound up being the MVP of the 2023 Citrus Bowl. In 2023, 163 yards on 9 catches, a touchdown pass that he threw to the quarterback of the team that we just to the guy who is now the quarterback of the team that beat the team that Nick and Delilah like. I'm trying to soften the blow, y'all. I know you're not happy about it, but he threw a pass to Jaden Daniels in that game. He had 13 receptions for 239 yards in a win over Mississippi State. A little bit of irony right there. And he also was named a unanimous All-American. He led all receivers in FBS with 1,569 yards. He declared for the 2024 draft. He is LSU's all-time leader in receiving yards with 3,003 yards and 21 touchdowns. As we know, he was selected by the New York Giants in the first draft, numero sixth in the 2024 NFL draft. And then he got himself in a little trouble on some gambling with Jaden Daniels. He received training from the league on its gambling policy because he proposed a bet between him and Jaden between who would be named Offensive Rookie of the Year. $29.9 million rookie contract. I need some of these jobs. The referees working part-time making $205,000, and this man made 20. He's good at what he does. I'm not disparaging that at all. Not at all. I just need to run a little harder and work out a little harder. He switched to the uniform number 1, and he became the first New York Giant to wear that number since 1935. And wow, they unretired a jersey for this kid. How about that? So far this season, as we know, the Giants have not had the greatest of seasons. We know who's throwing passes to him. And that guy's not throwing a lot of touchdowns. But so far this season, he's got 35 receptions for 386 yards. His longest pass received 39 yards and 3 touchdowns. But let me tell you something about this. Forget where he is right now. Forget who's throwing passes to him. I got a lot of chance to watch this kid play because he's an SEC kid. He's not blazing fast, but he will beat you. Don't blink. He will be behind you. He can make the difficult catches. He's really good at high pointing the jumping up and high pointing the ball. Some terminology that some sports guy came up with. The fancy way of saying is he's very skilled at catching the ball when it's up in the air, just catching it at the highest point. He's very good at high pointing the ball. He's an excellent route runner. This kid, he's absolutely amazing. And I think that is, I honestly, and if the Giants ownership and front office don't do something, I could see him being traded someplace else and prospering greatly after his rookie contract. I could see him prospering greatly. I think he will do the absolute best he can with what he is dealing with in New York. I think New York fans, I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. Well, the New York fans will probably agree with me. His talents right now are being wasted in New York. He will more than likely get traded to another franchise and have the coming out party of the year, kind of like when another New York Giant got traded to a conference rival and is doing all sorts of wonderful things. But I think this young man can have a very long and excellent career in the NFL. Ladies and gentlemen, your rookie of the week, Mr. Malik Neighbors. Thank you so much for your time. Good night, Cleveland.
Thank you very much, Andy, for that. Yes, I've seen the kid play a little bit, and I like Malik Neighbors a lot. Hopefully you'll see a lot more of him in the coming years, wherever he may play. So let's go on to our next segment, which is one that I started this year. And this one is called Exit Stage Left. All right. So this week, who I have, again, we all know that football is a rough game, folks, okay? Guys get injured, and that sort of thing happens, cramps, muscles, whatever it is, Achilles, all that stuff. But to see a dirty play really does bother me. And to see when people do that, when players really do that, then they say, well, I didn't mean to do it. And no, there was an incident this past weekend uh, in the Chargers. The Chargers game there against, see, this is what happens when you lose your mind when you're trying to talk. But anyways, Nathan Shepard literally rolled the leg, like literally it's like he was giving him in a ref for you wrestling fans out there, he was giving him like a leg lock. He literally locks his leg and then falls on top of the guy, and luckily his teammate Bozeman literally just lit this guy up. The Saints, sorry, it was the Saints. I was trying to and the reason that's important is because the Saints have been accused before of playing dirty. Like, remember all the Sean Payton stuff with the bounties? And then even after Peyton left, it's like the Saints have always been kind of pegged as dirty players. And I'm sorry, I've watched this clip a few times, and to me, it looks intentional. Like, you literally grabbed his leg and rolled over on it, and you see Herbert go down, and then, Bozeman comes out and just whacks this guy. And, he hit him good. The guy's leg flat on his back on the ground, and I'm thinking, good for you, Bozeman. That's absolutely right. Say protect your quarterback at all costs and stand up for that, man. I love to see that, only because, again, it's a dirty play. I don't want to see people get hurt, but at the same time, you got to protect your quarterback. Bozeman did just that. Again, we'll wait to see if fines are levied or what happened. I know there was a penalty on the play, but again, I don't like to see that kind of thing, because, again, football is a rough enough sport as it is. So to my man here, Mr. Nathan Shepard, you, my friend, can exit stage left. Thank you very much. That's all I have to say about that. But again, thank you all. Again, we have come to the end of another show. As you know, we have one final segment that we do every week, which is kind of a way for you to kind of get to know us a little bit on a personal level. This year, I've gone to asking everyone a question for one last thought. And today, I think it's a pretty thought-provoking one, so I hope everybody is ready with their answers. Handy, we'll start with you. What would you say has been in your life, and I know you've been alive for 50 some years, my friend, 54, I believe it is.
Yes, sir.
What would you say is the greatest day of your life in 54 years?
God, I've done a bunch of stuff in my life, and there have been a lot of great moments in my life. But I have to say, probably the moment that I realized, and this was going to shock y'all because I got kids and done things and done great things and all kinds of things. The moment that I realized that there are people in your life that you just don't need. And by that I mean, like, I have large social circles and things like that, and there's some folks that I hung on to and hung on to and hung on to, and wondered why I couldn't make moves in my life. And sometimes it's just like it's like falling overboard. If you're gonna drown if you don't get rid of dead weight. And it's not that these folks are necessarily dead weight. It's just that these were folks that I mistook for being more important in my life than what they actually were. I didn't have to throw them away. And it's not that I don't like them. It's just the moment that I started realizing that I didn't need these folks in my life, and they weren't people in my life that I could not live without. New ball game. And I know that sounds kind of weird. That sounds weird coming from a dude with kids. The moment that each one of them was born, my life changed a little bit more for the better. But that right there was something that I definitely needed, something that I needed, and I needed badly. And once that light bulb came on, it became very easy for me to go, okay, I'm going to put you over here. You got those people like, oh my God, why don't they never want to hang out. They never respond to any of my messages or anything like that. Like, I stopped worrying about that kind of stuff. And I feel so much better because I have.
Okay. No. Hey, again, this is for you, so I'm glad. Thank you for sharing that, though, because, I mean, again, that's probably an important life lesson for a lot of people, because I've had a hard time letting go of things I needed to let go of, so I could totally relate to some of that. So thank you for sharing that. Tina, how about you? What would you say up to this point has been the greatest day of your life? Are you muted, dear? We're having trouble hearing you.
There we go. Sorry.
That's okay.
Mine is probably because it was through my parents. I got to see things through my parents' eyes a little bit. Would be the day that I graduated from law school. Seeing the pride and like all the hard work and everything that I had done, seeing the look on my parents' faces when we went through that graduation was probably one of the best days of my life. Yep.
No,
That would
that's
be like or second in going in together is probably tied. The day that I took the bar because then I
okay.
was
Yeah.
gone and I didn't have to study anymore. I didn't have to do anything. 2 months of sheer just hell was over. So those two would probably be going hand in hand. So
No, I mean it's awesome. And again, that's a tremendous accomplishment. And yeah, I could totally and I appreciate your legal expertise. I told you I'm gonna have to come to you one day. I know it, and just ask you a ton of questions about stuff because the law is something I don't know a lot. I don't say I don't know a lot about, but I don't know everything, and that's always good to have somebody who knows what they're talking about. So thank you for that, Delilah. How about you? What would you say is the greatest day of your life up to this point?
It's gonna be just a summary of moments, but I'm gonna summarize holidays as a child in the 80s and 90s.
yeah.
It just hit different. I know every generation is like, oh, everybody says that, but there is just something about my holidays as a child. I don't know if it's because that generation we were always hanging out together, that our holidays were always filled with family friends that we called aunts, uncles, and cousins. You know how that goes, right? And it was just different. And those moments were some of the best ones of my life because we just didn't know it at the time, right? That those moments were like the
Yeah,
last time that you would get together like that. It doesn't mean you don't get
yeah,
together now, but it's not the same. Everybody knows that because
right.
we're all older and we have to go to different places and we kind of
Well,
splinter. But in the 80s and 90s, our holidays were packed. And it was not about the gifts and it was not about the candy and Halloween. It really was us just hanging out,
Yes.
eating, listening to music, joking around, having like multiple things going on at the same time. And
yeah,
yes, I know it's a stereotype, but kids did pass out on coats, and people kept going, man, till 2 in the
Yes.
yeah,
morning. Okay,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just how
yeah,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Yes, we
There
Had
was
a
passed.
few of
also an
those.
innocence to that time.
It was, and we just passed out wherever we were gonna pass out because our parents were not done. So we passed out
Yeah,
wherever we could, took that nap, and
yeah.
somehow we woke up and we were home. I don't know. It was
And
just
and
we fell asleep on a chair. All of a sudden, I wake up and I'm at home, and it's just those moments were some of the best moments of my life. And so I just wanted to summarize that
Sure,
part only
sure.
because we are heading into that, right? It is the holiday season, like with
Yes.
Halloween, basically all of that is kind of those are like some of the greatest moments of my life. So that's kind of what I wanted to share.
Yeah. No, no. I mean, again, it does remind me of Christmases at my grandmother's house at times. Yeah, like I get exactly what you mean about all the kids falling asleep on coats and all that. That's pretty funny. Maybe that's a Latino thing. I don't know, but yeah, they're still there at three in
no,
the morning. No, no, they're like,
no.
no, it's
No.
not. It's everybody,
See,
right?
it's an 80s and 90s
Yeah,
thing. I'm
yeah.
telling you.
No, I know. We're all yeah, exactly. We're all in
No,
that age group where it's
for
like, yeah, we
real.
had remember those
All the
Christmases.
cousins, yeah, all the cousins sleeping in one room. You got
Yeah,
just the
yeah,
one bed. You got two cousins in one
yeah,
bed, and then the rest of them
yeah.
on pallets on the floor around the bed. Yeah,
There
no,
you go.
all
Yeah,
about that.
something like that. It's funny because mine, you know, because I feel like I've done a lot of there's plenty of moments I could probably go to in this sort of thing, but a personal one for me is just one that was something that I don't think I never would have thought in my life, especially at that point. It happened when I was 14 years old, that I would ever be able to do and that I will ever get the chance to do again. Um, my parents divorced when I was 9 years old. Um, and so my dad, started dating a little bit after that. And he was dating a woman who did PR, public relations, for Children's Memorial Hospital. If you guys remember Children's Memorial Hospital back in the day, she did PR for them, and she came to my dad and asked them. They needed a representative. They wanted kind of a teenage boy or somebody like a younger kid to be a representative for this thing called the Robbie Fund, which was a foundation that helped cancer patients and young children who had cancer. And she asked my dad, "Do you think Nikki would be interested in throwing out the first pitch at a Cub game?"
Oh,
And I think my dad was like, "Yeah, I think if you ask him, I think he'd be excited for that." So I was asked, and of course I accepted. And it's just one of those moments that you go, man, like, I mean, I got to get out of school. Like, literally, I got an excused absence from my principal. I was able to take my 3 closest friends from school to the game, and they got excused absences. I mean, like, the Cubs gave me 20 tickets for the game because this was 1987 when they didn't draw anything. So they were just giving out tickets like it was nothing. So I had like 20 tickets for the game. Um, and again, just the thrill. Like, I played Little League at that point. So this was right towards the end of my Little League career. So, I mean, just to have your name announced, to walk out onto the mound, I was nervous as heck, obviously, because I got to throw 60.6 feet to get this ball. Jody Davis was catching at that time, and he caught the ball. So to summarize, I one-hopped it to his left side, but he grabbed it because he was a catcher, and I couldn't throw 60.6 feet, obviously. But it was just a moment I'll never forget. Both my parents were there. We took photos together. I met Steve Stone. I met Harry Carey. So, like, the whole day, like, just it's been in my memory since then. I can remember the day very vividly, everything that happened, all the events of that day. So it's like Cubs were playing the Astros, like, blah, 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 getting the autographs because, they gave me this they let me run through the dugout. So I got to meet a lot of the, Sandberg, Dawson, like, so it's just that to me, even though there are other things that are probably in life more, the achievements were more, but personally, this was probably just the greatest day of my life because as a 14-year-old boy, there's probably nothing I could have done more that would have excited me more than doing that. So that's mine. So again, thank you guys all for tuning in. We appreciate the comments as always. Thank you guys so much. And again, Halloween is Thursday. Please be safe. If you're going out, whatever you're doing, passing out candy, whatever, getting candy, just please be safe. Enjoy your Halloween. Tina's going to put her ears back on for this. Anthony wants to look like, I don't know, any kind of Living Color sketch from 1992 where they wore afros. So that's pretty much what he looks like now.
No. I am David Ruffin.
There it is. And we're just a group in search of a David Ruffin. Is that what you're saying? Okay, I get it. Thank you, Handy. I appreciate that. That's a nice Jericho you got there. Where's your activator?
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
Just let your soul yeah. Anyways. Okay, Eric LaSalle. Anyways, but thank you guys so much. Have a great week. We'll see y'all next Tuesday. Happy Halloween. Enjoy. Bye, everyone.